people, we're back for the second Rwl Sn Rl in Syracuse, New York. Wally Cardell, Johnny Bianco, and Tex Lynch with a stacked middle portion. As it turns out, the second hour won't be the end of tonight's show. Tell them what they've won, Johnny.
The great folks that operate the channel have understood that we have a whole lot of wrestling tonight. So, there's going to be a third hour this evening.
And this second hour's got some pretty major matches ahead.
And so, we begin the second of 3 hours of Snarl tonight, with the Snarl Women's Championship on the line. Can't imagine having to defend a championship on your birthday, but that's the situation for Liberty Bell Danielle, who's gonna face a challenge tonight from the Golden Goddess, Tatiana.
And the kicker here is that Tatiana and Liberty Bell Danielle Heathcote have never met before. Oh, well, that's a wild thing, having to defend a championship on your birthday, but yep, that is the lot of Liberty Bell Danielle Heathcote this evening as she prepares to defend the Snarl Women's Championship from the Golden Goddess Tatiana.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue our second hour opening contest, is set for one fall with a 15-minute time limit, and it is for the Rwl Sn Rl Women's Championship. Kind of a rough double whammy for Danielle, defending the Snarl Women's Championship on her birthday, and against an opponent she's only faced in tag team competition before, and a former women's international champion on top of that.
At 6'2" and 200 pounds, second largest female athlete we've got after Di on the Titaness. She's literally and figuratively a tall order for Liberty Bell Danielle.
But Danielle goes into this match at 100%, fully healed from her casket match with Luna Vachon at Halloween Brawl, and she'll need to be at 100% if she wants to get past Titania.
Considering Titania is a sneak who crawls beneath snakes' bellies, and she's got showbiz with her, you know something, Johnny? I'm kind of concerned, quite frankly, about Tatiana, showbiz, and their conduct.
I don't get it. What do you mean?
What's got you concerned, man?
Well, it's nothing I can put my finger on, but looking at Titania and showbiz and their behavior coming to the ring suggests something unusual to me.
They've always given off that master and slave relationship between them, and showbiz is always very deferential to Titania, but that could just, oh snap. I think I know where you're going with this, Tex, and maybe we should talk about it when we're off the air.
Tex, I think I see what you're saying, but let's squash the subject for now.
A wise choice, gentlemen, a very wise choice indeed, as we do not want to tarnish Liberty Bell Danielle's birthday any more than we have to.
MJ Ferrantino, actually putting in the work himself here, joining Danielle at ringside for this crucial title defense. Ferrantino's very keen on Danielle and Patty Powers, bringing the Ferrantino group a much-needed infusion of championship gold. And he wasn't going to send just anyone out here with Danielle for this one. And so, kudos to the Mathemagician for standing on business.
She's gonna still be very busy after tonight. There's your birthday bash next week, Tex, and she's looking at having to defend the Joyce Grable Memorial title, her personal favorite, against timeless Toni Storm. Damn boy, heavy is the head that wears the crown. 3 crowns in this case.
Danielle's had a real challenge just staying healthy this year. With several brutal matches she's made it through, but it's cost her about 2 months worth of downtime this year.
Plus, well, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the joy of things seems to have left Danielle. Sure, she's a success and all, but something is missing from her otherwise pretty good world.
I know exactly what's missing from Danielle's world. You know it too, we're just not going to say it. But Danielle's going to take a brief moment before this match to make a couple of interesting points, I suppose. Let's see what she's got to say. Go ahead, birthday girl.
So yeah, happy birthday to me, I guess. Wanted to quickly say thanks to all the fans that sent good wishes my way, because believe me, I'm gonna need them all. Next, I'd like to wish my opponent tonight good luck. But to be honest, I like the Snarl Women's Championship. Just a little too much to let it go, Titania. So you'll just have to understand if I fight like hell to keep it tonight. Lastly, there's the matter of number 1 contender Toni Storm, who I was expecting to hear from tonight, but she's not even in New York State right now. I really wish she hadn't stood me up.
Wish no longer, darling Danielle, oh heavenly Miss Heathcote, for I am here, by way of virtual long distance. Sadly, my dear, I had a prior commitment, which precluded my presence in lovely Syracuse tonight. But oh Danielle, I've not forgotten about you, I swear.
Oh? Okay. So listen, I'd like to have this match as soon as possible, so, can you be in Dallas next Saturday?
Dearest Danielle, wild horses couldn't keep me away. I hope I'm not boring your opponent for tonight. The big moose will simply have to understand. Danielle, you're a star in your promotion, and while you may not be at the very top alongside Jeannie Parker, your impact can't be denied. As a ladies' legend of sorts myself, it's always been my Star Trek-like prime directive to seek out new competitors and new opponents to challenge me. And Danielle, you and I, we too, are very much alike. I'll be in Dallas Saturday next, you can be sure of it, because I'm gonna pop your cherry when it comes to real competition. Don't worry, darling, it only hurts the first time, but then, you're in the big time. Ciao love, till Saturday next.
Someone needs to tell Toni Storm there will be no cherry popping of any kind during their match.
Hey man, I welcome it. It's a far cry from the usual I hate your guts and I want to cripple and maim you for the rest of your life.
I hear ya. I'm actually interested to see Toni Storm and Danielle in a solid, competitive matchup.
The challenger, accompanied by Showbiz from West Hollywood, California, she is the Golden Goddess, Titania Tatiana. Her opponent, accompanied by Matthew James Frontino from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She's an RW Air Ladies Triple Crown champion and the reigning Rwl Sn Rl Women's champion, All-American 50-pound, Danielle Heathcote.
Man alive, talk about a high-pressure gig. The Snarl Women's title this week, and the JGM title next week against Toni Storm. I mean, you could see where the pressure would build up for anyone normal.
But she seems to take it all in stride somehow. Tom Canamora gets the call this one. Well, Danielle's been performing better and she'll need to in this matchup. Again, her and Titania have never clashed before, so it's going to be an interesting matchup. Tom Canamora sounds the bell and here we go. Danielle with a hard right spins Titania around, goes behind, takes her down, and follows it up with a helicopter spin. Kind of cool. And a smack to the back of the head. A little bit of Mark Harmon action there for you. Oh, drop toe hold. And already starting to stretch Titania. Titania not standing still for that. Tags Danielle with a couple of shots to the head. Quickly back up on her feet, charges a clothesline, takes Danielle Heathcote down to the canvas. Another one. Oh man, takes her over the top rope and out onto the floor. MJ Ferrantino just biding his time, watching quietly. Titania whipped to the ropes. Danielle goes behind, German suplex with a pin, one. Oh, nicely done by the ladies triple crowner Danielle Heathcote. Danielle whips Titania to the corner. Titania puts, oh look at this. Tried to counter it, Danielle rebounds off the ropes. Oh man. Slammed Titania's head to the canvas as she slid on through the ropes. That was unusual. A hard slap across the chest. There's another, a chop. And look at this. Oh man. Titania countered that move. Danielle miscued on that one. Driven into the ring steps. Followed up with a stomp to the back from Titania Tatiana. Was already using that size, height, and weight advantage against Danielle. She's going to have some problems here. Titania rolls her back inside the ring. Showbiz on the apron, disengaging the turnbuckle. Danielle trying to get at Titania. Titania gets a hold of her first, into the steel. Oh man, right into the steel chest first, huh? An arm smash from Titania to Danielle. A hard right spins her around. Titania goes behind. Vice grip. Squeezing the head of Danielle Heathcote, blocking the flow of blood to the brain. Down she goes. Oh, man, well, that ain't good. Titania with a kick to the leg of Liberty Bell. Danielle. Titania rebounds off the ropes, running headbutt. Oh, that's not good either. Here's a cover. Here's the ref. Not even a one this time. MJ Ferrantino cheering her on. Oh, man. Titania gets locked up by Danielle Heathcote. Whip to the far left corner, right into the steel herself. The schemer falls into the hole. He digs for another, as Sir Arthur Conan Doyle once observed. Danielle with a heel hook stretch on Titania. Tatiana center ring. Showbiz looking a little bit worried here as Danielle starts to turn it around. And that disengaged turnbuckle could turn out to be a mistake for Tatiana. And Showbiz might be taken to task for that later. Titania rolls back in for a reset. Danielle gets a hold of her and again whips her into the steel exposed turnbuckle. Danielle quickly and wisely goes for the cover. 1, 2. I don't know. No. Have to try it again. Danielle rounds up Titania. Gets a hold of the leg. Fisherman Buster to Tatiana, the Golden Goddess, on the defensive now as Danielle snaps the arm on her, probably softening her up for a submission later down the road. Showbiz under the ring. Looks like she's got a kendo stick as Titania gets stretched center ring again. Danielle wisely keeping Titania away from the ropes with those long legs and that reach. A clubbing overhand right to the head of Titania. Titania whipped to the far right corner. Liberty Bell. Danielle sets her up. Whoa, nice suplex right into the corner. Titania stands herself up quick. She is reeling. Whip to the ropes. Danielle ducks under, rebounds off the ropes, and a clothesline sends Titania spinning. Tatiana laid out. Danielle goes topside. Here we go. Big time leg drop across the throat of the Golden Goddess. Titania covered. 1, 2, 3, and that is going to do it. Liberty Bell. Danielle retains the Snarl Women's Championship.
The time, 4 minutes and 28 seconds. New winner by pinfall, still Snarl Women's Champion, Liberty Bell, Danielle Heathcote.
Only 4.5 minutes to take down the Big Moose, as Tony Storm referred to Titania. Guess it's safe to say that at least Danielle is back to form in the ring again.
Wish she could find out what's making her feel so empty. Has she considered therapy techs?
Johnny, shut up. Danielle's going to be fine. And it's a terrific win, and she's still the Snarls Women's Champion. Well, on to the next problem. We'll be back with more Snarl right after the break. They say for everything there's a first time, but it's the second time around for these two tag team partners, as the Fairfield Fox Faye Crawford and the Memphis Millionaires Jody Vorick join forces for the first time, facing Grace Fenwick and Jessica Goldman, the UK ladies.
The following ladies tag team contest is set for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing first, from Sussex, England, Grace Fenwick, and from Brisbane, Australia, Jessica Goldman. Together they are the UK ladies.
Well, sir, leave it to Grace Fenwick and Jessica Goldman to put me in a holiday mood a couple of months before Christmas. Yes, sir, I love that music. It puts me in a Christmassy kind of mood. I can smell the tinsel now. And check out Grace Fenwick, rocking her brand new ring jacket. She's got a big old snowflake on the back. Have a look, watch this. Here it comes. Big old snowflake. She looks like a big old S&M Christmas elf. With a whip, she could do a thriving trade in dominance. Oh, hey. Merry Christmas, you guys.
We love you, Tex, but we could live to be 100 and never figure you out, fella.
Their opponents, first, from Fontana, California, Memphis Millionaires Jody Vorick, and from Fairfield, Connecticut, the Fairfield Fox Faye Crawford JD, and the Fox
Here's a team that came straight out of the blue unexpected. Jody Boric and Faye Crawford, neither of them strangers to tag team work. Jody, of course, during her time with the Bell Council, and Faye from her run with Crystal Gabor, a run that brought them to the Women's World Tag Titles for a time. Could we see another near-perfect pairing between the Memphis Millionaires and the Fairfield Fox? This match with the UK ladies will prove a crucial test for the partnership.
Will the two complement one another, or will they clash like chalk and cheese?
Lots of kinks to iron out in a new partnership. Let's see how quick they can smooth over any rough spots, because this match still heavily favors Grace Betty and Jessica Goldman.
Yep, definitely remains to be seen if Faye Crawford and Jody Boric can coexist as a team. It's been a while since either of these ladies engaged in some tag team work. Going to be Grace Fenwick starting it off for the UK ladies, and Faye Crawford starting it off for JD and the Fox. Willie Johnson rings the bell. Faye Crawford off the ropes, flying punch, takes Grace Fenwick down to the canvas. Fenwick back up on her feet. Faye Crawford whips her out onto the apron. An enziguri puts down Grace Fenwick. Faye Crawford turning her attention to Jessica Goldman and then turning it right back to Grace Fenwick. Fenwick off the ropes, a flying kick to the back of Faye Crawford. Crawford rounded up. There's a kick right to the face from Grace Fenwick. Fenwick locked up by Faye Crawford, whipped to her team's corner, and here we go. Faye Crawford takes it on her own, delivers a kick to the calf of Grace Fenwick. Fenwick still on the wrong side of town. Oh, wicked kick right to the head for Grace Fenwick. Look at this. The Fairfield Fox calling for it. There's a set of wicked strength kicks to the chest of Grace Fenwick. Man, like 6 of them. Who? Well, all right. Faye Crawford keeping Grace Fenwick on her side of the ring and stretching the leg of Grace Fenwick. The Fairfield Fox dominant here. Over the top rope and kaboom! Down goes Grace Fenwick again on the floor on the outside as Willie Johnson starts the count. Running knee from Grace Fenwick to Faye Crawford. Crawford rounded up. There's a hard right forearm from Grace Fenwick. The sadistic Grace Fenwick taking out her aggressions on Faye Crawford, even if Faye Crawford isn't specifically her type. Man. Wrist clutch kicks to Faye Crawford on the outside as the ref continues to count. And Grace Fenwick is going to take her sweet time stretching the arms of the Fairfield Fox. Follows that up with a pair of knees into her back. Grace Fenwick rounds up the Fairfield Fox. Man, Grace Fenwick catching some elbows to the midsection from Faye Crawford. Crawford rolls Grace back inside the ring, makes her own way inside. The count is over. Rebound off the ropes, flying punch just about connects to the Fairfield Fox. She makes a tag, and here comes the Memphis Millionaires, Jody Boric, who takes a shot from Grace Fenwick. And Jody is much more Grace Fenwick's type. She might enjoy this a little too much, and here we go. Right away, laying in to Jody Boric with a series of wrist clutch kicks. And now she's going to go and stretch the arms on the Memphis Millionaires. A pair of double knees into the back of Jody Boric. Jody rounded up by Grace Fenwick. Fenwick with a hard whip to the UK ladies' corner. She's going to take it herself again. Yanking on the arm of Jody Boric. Now Jody's on the wrong side of town in the UK ladies' territory. Another kick to the calf for Jody Boric. Grace Fenwick locks her up. Drives a set of knees into Jody's midsection. Tags in Jessica Goldman of the UK ladies. Jody Boric catches a stomp to the midsection. Jessica Goldman with a series of rocket kicks to the head. Here's a cover. One. Only just a one. Jody Boric quickly getting the shoulder back up. There's a stomp to the midsection from Jessica Goldman. Goldman with a series of wrist clutch kicks to Jody. Follows that up with a forearm to the side of the head. Jessica Goldman Well, both UK ladies actually pretty aggressive. There's a knee to the head of Jody Vorak. And it seems like Jody and Faye Crawford are on the defensive in this one so far. There's a clothesline from Jessica Goldman. Jody quickly tags in the Fairfield Fox, who catches a running dropkick from Jessica Goldman. This team not starting out too good right here. Faye Crawford catches the turnbuckle to the face. Jessica Goldman tries to put the boots to her, but she says, "No, that's all right, we're not doing that." Jessica Goldman slams face first to the canvas. Jody rounds her up into a power bomb, flips her over and drives a knee into her head. The Fairfield Fox, off the ropes, fails to connect with the crossbody. Jessica Goldman makes her pay for the mistake with a forearm, beats it out of town and turns it over to Grace Fenwick. The UK ladies in control of the match so far. Both ladies missed their move on that one. Grace Fenwick with a kick. All right, a chop and another kick. Yes. Faye Crawford down on one knee. There's a forearm. The Fairfield Fox on the defensive again as the UK ladies continue to press the attack. Grace Fenwick driving knees into the leg of the Fairfield Fox. There's a stomp to the midsection. A stomp to the shoulder. Grace Fenwick definitely having a good time in there as here comes Jessica Goldman. The Fairfield Fox crawls her way to the corner. Goldman right there waiting for her. There's a kick to the ribs. There's another. Faye Crawford in trouble. Smashed head first into the turnbuckle by Jessica Goldman. Goldman beats it out of town and turns it over to Grace Fenwick. Faye Crawford still hung up in that corner. A clothesline takes her down to the canvas. Grace Fenwick quickly going for a cover. Here's the ref. Not even a one this time. Faye Crawford kicking out of that pin right away. Grace Fenwick whips her to the UK ladies corner. She's going to take it herself again. Drapes the leg over the rope. Delivers the kick to the calf of the Fairfield Fox. Fenwick rounds up. Faye Crawford drives a knee into her head. Yes, sir. Grace Fenwick definitely having a good time in there tonight. Slam face first into the canvas by the Fairfield Fox. Faye Crawford goes after Jessica Goldman too. Turns it around. Grace Fenwick with the upper hand, but no counter. There's a kick to the midsection. A rebound off the ropes and a flying punch to Grace Fenwick takes her down to the mat. Faye Crawford going for a pin. One. Only a one. Grace Fenwick powers out. Fenwick rounded up by the Fairfield Fox. Whip to the opposing team's corner. Faye Crawford gonna take it herself. In retaliation, a kick to the calf of Grace Fenwick. The Fairfield Fox takes Grace Fenwick down to the canvas, and there's a bully-style beat down in the corner. Raining punches on the head of Grace Fenwick. A stomp to the shoulder from the Fairfield Fox. And here comes Jody Vorak again. The Memphis Millionaires rounded up over the shoulders of Grace Fenwick. A discus punch takes Jody down to the mat. Fenwick steps out, turns it over to Jessica Goldman. Boy, these guys have got no courage at all, huh? Jody goes behind on Goldman, has her up. Inverted vertical suplex. That was unusual. Jody Vorak drives a knee into the arm of Jessica Goldman. And the new team of JD and the Fox trying to put out the fire on the UK ladies. A drop kick off the ropes from Jessica Goldman to Jody Vorak. Jody rounded up again. Whip to the UK ladies corner. Jody counters with an elbow, finds her way out of the danger zone, locks it up with Jessica Goldman. Counter whips her to the opposing team's corner. And Jody countered with an elbow by Goldman. Goldman locks her up. Jody counters with elbows to Jessica. Jessica Goldman catches a right, catches another, catches a chop. And a backbreaker from the Memphis Millionaires. Jody Vorak, here's a cover. One. But nope. But finally, the tide appears to be turning for JD and the Fox. As Faye Crawford is brought in on the tag, Jessica Goldman, slow to get up, catches a stomp to the back. Faye Crawford with a nice judo toss. to Jessica Goldman. A stomp to the chest. Another. The Fairfield Fox turns it back over to Jody Vorick. Okay, the team definitely turning it around here on the UK ladies. Jody with Goldman by the ankles. Alley-oops her out of the corner. And she's done. She turns it over to Jessica Goldman. The team now starting to gel, starting to play here. Both ladies missed their move on that one. A right, a chop, another right, and a drop kick to the knee. A fake Crawford by Jessica Goldman. Rebound off the ropes. There's a moonsault excellently executed in the center of the ring. Goldman turns it over to Grace Fenwick. Fake Crawford, center ring, catches a running drop kick from Grace Fenwick. Fenwick gathers up the Fairfield Fox. Crawford whipped to the ropes. A running punch takes her down, and a quick cover from Fenwick. 1, 2. Almost, but no. Oh yeah, Grace Fenwick's feeling that she's mad. That was damn close. Grace Fenwick smelling blood in the water here maybe. Faye Crawford slow to get up over the shoulders, inverted fireman's carry. There's a knee to the skull of GTS. And Grace Fenwick covers 1. But Jody Vorick right there to break it up. The Memphis Millionaire is moving real quick. The team's not having any real problems mechanically. Just that the UK ladies are giving them a tough time. Here's a tag to Jessica Goldman. Faye Crawford, double whip to the ropes, double shoulders as Jessica Goldman takes over. And the combination of Jessica Goldman and Grace Fenwick, well, they've been doing pretty good for themselves so far, but Faye Crawford and Jody Vorick have been battling back. But now they're starting to lose it again as Jessica Goldman twists the arms on the Fairfield Fox. Follows it up with 2 knees into the back of Faye Crawford. Jessica Goldman swings with the kick, gets taken down quickly by Faye Crawford. Crawford whips Goldman to the ropes. Oof. A vicious knee to the midsection and a kick to the head to Jessica Goldman from the Fairfield Fox. Faye Crawford whips Goldman to her team's corner again. Jessica Goldman counters out of the corner. Takes a run, rebounds off the ropes, misses with the punch. Faye Crawford doesn't miss with hers, but Jessica Goldman just the same, whips her to the ropes and nails her with a flying punch. Here's a cover and a hook of the leg. 1, 2. Well now, looks like the UK ladies are going to have to work just that much harder. Jessica Goldman turns it over to Grace Fenwick. The Fairfield Fox, Faye Crawford back on her feet. Here comes Grace Fenwick, misses with the kick. Gets tagged with a hard right from Faye Crawford. Faye Crawford playing with Grace Fenwick now. The Fairfield Fox catches a couple of kicks, a right and a spin kick from Grace Fenwick. And that was the parting shot as she turns it over to Jessica Goldman. The Fairfield Fox taken down with that withering barrage of shots as Jessica Goldman moves in on Faye Crawford, and this could be bad right here. To this, a rebound off the ropes and a flying punch from Goldman to the Fairfield Fox. Crawford rounded up again by Jessica Goldman. Hard whip towards the far left corner, the UK ladies corner, and head first into the turnbuckle. Goes Faye Crawford again. Faye Crawford rounded up by Goldman. Rebound off the middle ropes. Flying kick right to the side of the head. The Fairfield Fox rolls out to the floor. Grace Fenwick is brought in on the tag. The referee is already counting Faye Crawford as Grace Fenwick goes after Jody Vorick, gets a shot in the face for her troubles. She goes back, tries it again. Ananzaguri finally puts Jody on the floor as Faye Crawford makes her way back inside the ring. A hard right spins Grace Fenwick around. Fenwick catches a spinning knee to the hip. Wow. Faye Crawford covers 1. But again, though, the UK ladies giving this new team a hard time. Here's a set of jabs from one of the best strikers in the ladies division. Boom, hard right hand takes Grace Fenwick down. Faye Crawford covers. 1, 2. There's one thing about Faye Crawford. She will punch your lights out. The Fairfield Fox moves in on Jessica Goldman. Jody Vorick returns to her corner. And Jessica Goldman about to catch those 10-count punches to the chest from Faye Crawford. The referee continuing to count Grace Fenwick. And out to the floor goes Jessica Goldman. Faye Crawford right there waiting for Grace Fenwick. A hard forearm takes her down to the canvas. And here comes Jody Vorek, the Memphis Millionaires. The whip kitten misses with her move. Grace Fenwick goes behind on her. There's a hard right that takes Jody down to the canvas. Jody Vorek rounded up again by Grace Fenwick. And one more time, Grace Fenwick gonna go to work on the arms of the Memphis Millionaires, Jody Vorek. Grace Fenwick, look at the eyes on that woman. She's crazy. Double knees to the back for Jody. As Grace Fenwick delivers another kick to the back. Fenwick rounds her up, locks up Jody, whips her to the UK ladies corner. And again, Grace Fenwick takes it herself, smashes Jody's head into the turnbuckle. Grace Fenwick yanks her out of the corner, and a flying kick rebound off the ropes to the head of Jody Vorek. Jody trying to make her way to a standing position, using the ropes for leverage here. Grace Fenwick with a vicious clothesline takes Jody down to the canvas, and Grace Fenwick quickly going to go for the pin. Here's the ref. 1, 2, and again, no. Jody Vorek, very tough. Almost impossible to keep down. Grace Fenwick whips Jody to her team's corner. Fenwick with another kick to the calf of Jody Vorek. She moves in on Jody. Jody counters with a kick to the midsection. Gets a hold of Grace Fenwick. Look at this. He's got the leg. Look at this. Fisherman package pin. Look at this here. 1, 2, 3, and that is all over. JD and the Fox picking up their first win as a tag team.
The time 15 minutes and 40 seconds. Your winners by pinfall, JD and the Fox.
Well, JD and the Fox may sound like a bad NBC TV sitcom from the 80s, but the team apparently works very well. The Memphis Millionaires and the Fairfield Fox collaborating to put an end to the UK ladies in this matchup, and well, now we may be seeing the start of something real special between Faye Crawford and Jody Vorek. And it was the Memphis Millionaires picking up the win for her team over Grace Fenwick, and there it was, the kick to the midsection and that package pin. Beautifully done. We'll be back with more RWL Sn Rl right after the break. Hope to see you there.
Okay, coming up, an 8-man tag that's sure to be a hit.
As Lou Albano's for man squad of the Wild Samoans, Umaga, and Magnificent Don Morocco partner against the Stronghold's two greatest tag teams, both the Originals and the Psychedelics.
Well, now that's got to be a formidable 8-man tag matchup right there.
This next contest is an 8-man tag team match set for one fall with a 30-minute time limit. First, the team of Captain Lou Albano. Introducing first, at a combined weight of 588 pounds, from the island of Samoa, Appa, and Sika, the Wild Samoans.
You know, guys, Myron Schimmelman was telling me he both loves and hates these part of multi-person matches. 6- and 8-man tags, he says, are box office gold. But you can't overuse these types of matches or they lose their magic, he observed. I think he makes an interesting point, really.
Exactly. Too much of a good thing. It wouldn't be anywhere near as exciting if we had these all the time. But this one, this particular 8-man tag, can't be anything but top drawer stuff with these participants.
Their partners, first, also from the island of Samoa, weighing 350 pounds, the Samoan bulldozer, Umaga.
Lou Albano's Pacific Island Army against the top men's tag teams in the Stronghold. Seriously, shut up and take my money already.
The Wild Samoans are donning all by themselves. Throw in the savage Umaga, and then the cold, calculating mind of Don Morocco, and you've got a squad that only the toughest, bravest, or most insane would date to challenge. Luckily, the Originals and the Psychedelics have a little of all three.
Yes, sir, both teams do carry a little bit of tough, a little bit of brave, and a little bit of crazy. So they are the perfect match to try and take down this Pacific Island squad of Blue Albanos, but damn, Umaga and the Samoans and Morocco as well.
And from Sunset Beach, Hawaii, weighing 275 pounds, magnificent Don Morocco.
No doubt. I'm assuming Sylvia's got every confidence her boys are going to take down this Pacific Island squad.
The Originals have been the top tag team in this company for over a decade, and the Psychedelics now have the distinction of holding the record for shortest tag team match in our WL history, at 2 minutes 30 seconds. So you know, the Freak and Wild Thing Wayne Tague are riding especially high right now.
Whoa man, Umaga is another case of intimidating all on his own. You gotta take your hat off to Lou Albano for putting together this murderer's row of absolute monsters, then throwing Morocco into the mix.
The one brain with actual wrinkles might make Morocco most dangerous of the whole group.
And their opponents representing the stronghold. First, at a combined weight of 477 pounds, the Snar Tag Team Champions, the Freak and Wild Thing Wayne Tague, the Psychedelics.
Well, yeah, I couldn't help myself. I had to go back and look at the records, and yes, 2 minutes and 34 seconds is the shortest time for an RWL tag team match with a 20-minute time limit, and the Freak and the Wild Thing have achieved it. And that's something I don't think anybody ever is going to be able to break that one. Like the longest match we ever had was the Buried Alive match with Craig NBC Block that ran almost an hour. But now the Freak and the Wild Thing have the shortest tag team match ever, and I don't think anyone's ever going to duplicate that one.
Their partners at a combined weight of 520 pounds, their WL Undisputed World Tag Team Champions, the Chicago Hammerjaw Band, and Crippler Guy Cormier, the Originals.
Miss Sylvia's first ever tag team as a manager. And fast forward to a decade later, they are still the top dogs in RWL's tag team division. John Van and Guy Cormier, multi-time tag team champions, longest reigning ever tag team champions at this particular juncture with the Undisputed World Tag Team Championships. And man, you put them together with the Psychedelics and you've got a team that's definitely a match for Lou Albano's Pacific Islanders. Samoan Afa and the Freak starting things off here as Willie Johnson sounds the bell. Afa catches a kick to the midsection from the Freak. The Freak tags him with a headlock punch. Tags Afa with a couple of overhand rights and a couple of double axe handles, finally pummeling him into the canvas. The Freak with a kick, a right, another kick, and a spin kick takes Samoan Afa down. And here comes Wild Thing Wayne Tague. Oh man, here we go. The Wild Thing drives Afa's knee into the canvas. And now Wild Thing Wayne Tague putting the boots to the hands and fingers of Samoan Afa, who counters with a kick, gets back up to a standing position, decides he's had enough and turns it over to Sika. Wild Thing charges, misses his attack, and Sika strangling him, follows it up with a headbutt. Sika rebounds off the ropes, and there's another diving headbutt to Wild Thing Wayne Tague. As the Pacific Island team starts to pull away here, Wild Thing counters with a kick, a right to Afa that doesn't even slow him down. He winds up retaliating with a couple of shots. Wild Thing whipped to the ropes. Sika misses his attack again. He may need glasses. Wayne Tague catches a knee to the midsection. Wayne Tague counters with elbows to the midsection of Sika. A hard right to Sika, and a spinning clothesline takes Sika down to the canvas. Sika counters with a kick, gets himself back up to a standing position here. A beautiful kick from Sika takes the Wild Thing down. And now Sika in control of things. Winding up the legs of the Wild Thing. He releases the hold. Sika turns it back over to Afa. We still haven't seen Umaga or Don Morocco yet. Swing and a miss from Afa. Wild Thing Wayne Tague countered with a headbutt by Afa. Wayne Tague catches another knee to the midsection. Avoids the chop from Afa. Afa against the ropes. Wild Thing misses with the elbow, misses the second time. We may need to get a staff optometrist around here. Oh, man. Afa goes for the cover and hooks the leg. 1, 2. Nope. Not happening. Wild Thing get the right shoulder up. There's a clothesline that takes him over the top rope, out onto the floor. Afa turning his attention to the Freak and Guy Cormier of the Originals, who just got hauled into the ring. Wild Thing disposes of Sika, at least temporarily. Guy Cormier reeling in the center of the ring. The Wild Thing delivers the suplex to Sika. Afa brings in Chicago Hammer John Van too. There's a clubbing overhand right to Guy Cormier. A shoulder tackle to the Freak. Wild Thing Wayne Tague. All out of partners here. Catches a back body drop from Afa. Followed up with a stomp to the back. John Van still out of it over here. Diving headbutt misses the mark. Wild Thing makes him pay with a running DDT. John Van finally back at his corner. Elbow from the Wild Thing takes Afa down. Here comes the Chicago Hammer. One half of the Originals. Running kick misses the mark. Afa whips John Van to the ropes. Moves in on him, locks him up. Has him up and slams him down with a big suplex. Samoan Afa beating the head of John Van against the canvas. Here comes Sika on the tag. The Chicago Hammer standing ready center ring, misses with the kick and is quickly taken down by Sika. John Van quickly counters Sika, gets back up on his feet, charges, misses with the running kick again. Sika goes behind. John Van counters with an elbow. Rebounds off the ropes, and he nailed him with the flying punch that time for sure. And here comes Wild Thing Wayne Tague on the tag. The Wild Thing locks it up with Sika. Whips him to the far right corner, drives a knee into his midsection, follows it up with a couple of boots to the chest. The Freak driving his weight into the chest of Sika. Handstand double knees to the chest for Sika from the Freak. The Freak rounds up Sika, escorts him to the stronghold corner, head first into the turnbuckle he goes, and here comes the Wild Thing on the tag. The Freak and the Wild Thing doubling up on Sika. There's a back body drop as Wild Thing takes over for his team. Sika makes the tag to Don Morocco for the first time. He catches a running DDT from Wild Thing. Oh, a running bulldog from Don Morocco takes the Wild Thing down. Don Morocco, about the only thinking animal on that team. Wild Thing Wayne Tague takes a series of shots from Morocco, winds up down on the floor, and on the wrong side of town as Umaga moves in. Morocco takes down the Wild Thing, goes after. Guy Cormier brings him in, slams him down to the canvas. Wild Thing taking over the top rope and out onto the floor, and the Stronghold's only got one guy standing. It's the Freak. Wild Thing Wayne Tague back in the ring. Misses with his move, catches the stomp from the Wild Samoan, slams him face first into the canvas. Sika gathered up again by the Wild Thing, counters with elbows to the midsection of the Wild Thing. Swing and miss with the clothesline. Wild Thing counters with a kick to the midsection and the DDT. And slams him down the canvas as the Freak is brought in on the tag. The Stronghold with a clothesline to take down the Samoan. The Freak with a series of headbutts to Samoan Sika, which I'm sure he doesn't experience all the time. The Freak puts on the brakes. Guillotine leg drop on the Samoan. The Freak dodges out of the way, gets a hold of Sika. escorts him to the stronghold corner, smashes his head into the turnbuckle. Sika counters with an elbow and finds his way out, catches a cheap shot from John Van. The Freak goes behind, and a clubbing blow to the chest of the Chicago Hammer. John Van is brought in. These two teams, well, they work together all the time. They train together, so this team is running like a well-oiled machine, no question about that. John Van drives a knee into the head of Sika, follows that up with a hard forearm, takes him down to the canvas. And Sika on the wrong side of the ring, surrounded by 4 members of the Stronghold. John Van gathers Sika up, smashes his head into the turnbuckle. Sika again counters and escapes a throat chop to John Van. John Van counters with a kick. The Chicago Hammer whips him to the ropes. They collide with no result. John Van countered by Sika, tries for a bear hug. John Van says, no you don't. There's a set of shots to the face. John Van with an axe kick to the head of Sika. Turns his attention to every single member of the other team, starts slugging them. Goes for a cover, but Don Morocco right there to break it up. What a hectic match we got going here. Sika gets a hold of John Van, has him up, and there's a spinning one-arm slam to the Chicago Hammer. As Sika turns it over to Samoan Afa. Afa charges, takes down John Van with a running spear. Charges again, the spinning kick don't find the mark. There's a shot from John Van that does. He ran, look at this, the power on John Van lifting up that big old Samoan, and spin drops him right to the canvas. John Van drives a knee into the head of the big Samoan and turns it over to the Freak on the tag. The Freak turns Sika over, gets a hold of him, wrist clutch, baby steps, stomps to the back for Sika. The Freak not going to let him stand up right away. He delivers a stomp to the arm, rounds him up. Sika counters with a kick and a throat chop to the Freak. The Freak locked up and being strangled and headbutted by Sika, who now turns it over to the Samoan bulldozer Umaga, and business may just pick up here. Umaga shoves the Freak away, follows it up with a clothesline, takes him down to the canvas, turns his attention to John Van, brings him into the ring the hard way, goes after the Freak. The Freak says, no, we're not doing that. So Umaga shoves him away, misses with the spin kick, shoves the Freak away again, shoves him against the ropes. A throat chop takes the Freak down. John Van still standing dazed in the middle of the ring. Umaga drives all his weight into the chest of the Freak, the legal man in the ring. The Freak counters with elbows to Umaga. John Van still figuring it all out here. Shoved away by Umaga. The spin kick definitely finds the mark that time as John Van shakes it off and gets the hell out of there. Umaga whips the Freak over the top rope, out onto the floor, turns his attention to the Wild Thing. Wild Thing hangs him up off the top rope and says, yeah, thanks for coming. Umaga whips the Freak out onto the apron and then decides to bring him back inside after all. Wild Thing Wayne Tig tags Umaga with a right. Umaga gets a hold of the Freak, escorts him towards the Albano team's corner. He's taking his sweet time about getting him there, but the Freak decides to disengage him arbitrarily. Gets a hold of him, slams him down by one arm. Damn. Well now, the Freak with a stomp to the shoulder of Umaga as he turns it over to Wild Thing Wayne Tig. And man, this match has gone on for quite some time now and still no sign of a winner. Oh boy. Big time elbow drop, major air caught by the Wild Thing. Here's a cover one. But again, no. Nope. Umaga still got too much steam in the tank. John Van brought in on the tag. The Chicago Hammer opens up with a series of kicks. A knee to the head of Umaga. The Chicago Hammer countered by Umaga with an elbow. Umaga gets a hold of him, catches another kick from John Van. Van rebounds off the ropes, flying punch, takes Umaga down to the canvas. Hold on. Okay. Here comes Samoan Afa. Has Van up over the shoulders. Samoan drop. That's only the Samoans can do it. There's a cover one. But John Van reaching out for the rope. Afa don't seem to understand, but he has to start all over again. Morocco getting involved. John Van takes down Afa, goes after Morocco, tags him with a clothesline that spins him ass over Tea Kettle. A headbutt from Afa takes John Van down to the canvas. There's a shoulder claw from Samoan Afa to John Van. John Van struggles to one knee, up to a standing position. There's a couple of shots to disengage the Samoan. Another shot to the midsection just because he doesn't like him. And there's a kick to the head just to make sure the point's taken. Here comes Sika on the tag. Spin kick doesn't find the mark. John Van connects with the right. He's got the claw locked in. He's got the claw locked in. Referee checking it out. Sika's locked it. That's it. It is done. He has tapped out. He is gone. Team Stronghold defeating Team Albano by submission or knockout. I'm not really sure which. Wow.
The time, 12 minutes and 40 seconds. Your winners, Team Stronghold.
Well, Johnny, it looks like you're going to be the guest at another big victory party for the Stronghold as the Originals and the Psychedelics finally succeed in taking out Lou Albano's Pacific Islanders. And what a match it was. Chaotic, frenetic, any other kind of adjectives you can come up with. They were all there. And John Van put an end to the party right here with that brain claw on Samoan Sika. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with more RWL Sn Rl, a third hour, an unprecedented third hour coming up right after this.